You know, somebody was asking for a picture of Rooster Cogburn. There he is. Now, you got a horse right here that's saying, hey, I would much rather have you look at me than I would want you to look at that goofy little rooster. But there you can see the Rooster Cogburn. Now, he's the one always making all the noise in these videos. So somebody had asked to be able to have a picture of him. So today, I'm giving everybody an opportunity to really see who Rooster Cogburn is before we start our little video this week. Now this week, as we're walking back toward our little studio back here in the back of the barn, this week we're going to be talking about Luke chapter 15, and we're going to be talking about verses 20 through 24. Now, what Luke 15 is talking about the prodigal son. And you know, there's such joy in this story to think, you know, we're all prodigal sons and daughters, no matter how you look at it. You know, we all fall short of the glory. But what is so cool is this promise. Let's start in verse 20. And it says, "And he arose and came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion, and ran and embraced him and kissed him." His father ran to him, not waiting for him to come back home. He's seen him from afar off, and he is like chasing him. Now, friends, we can only imagine the words that were being spoke in that time, that distance that him and his dad was walking back. And I can only imagine. I mean, you know, you just think about this for your own kids or people in your own life or, you know, your own family members, and you think what it's like whenever you haven't seen them for a long time and how great it is to see them and hug them and hold them. You know, it opens up your mind to see a picture here of how wonderful this moment was for the dad to see his son coming, right? It's such a beautiful picture. Well, as they're coming down the road, though, he runs out and he embraces him and kisses him. But the son says to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." Now, you know, that's how we feel sometimes, isn't it? Whenever we go to the Lord, we think, what we've done is so bad. There's no way we can be forgiven. There's no way that God's going to continue to open his arms up to somebody like me. We all go through this stuff because Satan wants us to believe that we're not good enough and that God can never forgive us. I'm going to tell you something. This story right here gives each and every one of us hope to know that there is nothing that can separate us from God. Right here is the proof of it. Let's continue on because he says, "I've sinned against you, against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father said to his servant, "Bring quickly the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand." Now, a ring in them days signified that you were a part of the family, an important part of the family, an important member of a family. So he says to get him his ring, get a ring, a family ring, and put on him. And the best robe, and bring the fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to celebrate. Friend, every time we fall short, you know, we're all prodigal sons and daughters. But know this for a fact. God has his arms reached out in a running toward us. And whenever we are willing to surrender, to pray forgiveness, to come home, to say we want to come home, the door is wide open and God is there waiting for us. And friend, we don't know what time of the day or the hour is going to be our last breath that we take on this earth. Let us go through this week with this thought process going on in our minds. that we have a loving Father that no matter what we've done that's gone on in our lives, that is standing there waiting for us to come home, to say we want to come home. It's all he's waiting for. At that point, he can embrace and hold us tightly. Friend, does it mean that we got it all figured out at that point? I'm afraid that's not the truth. There's probably still valleys we're going to have to go in. But you know what? The good news is that God is always there waiting for us. He loves us enough. He loves us enough that he's always there waiting for us to come home. Man, what a joyful thing to go into the week thinking about this week, isn't it? We're all prodigal sons and daughters, and God is waiting for us to come home. Friend, don't hesitate another second. Surrender yourself before the Lord and let his love fill your heart, starting right now. It'll be good for you, I promise. It's his promise, not mine. Till next week, God bless.